Pets in Practice offers puppy classes, improver classes and also classes by the Kennel Club, which is our Good Citizen dog scheme, and Rally-O classes. We also offer agility classes outside. The puppy classes, we incorporate socialisations, we get puppy play, we have the mix in with children and also adults that come to the classes, and also we teach the very basic commands, so the sits, the downs, the stands and the recalls. The improver classes is for our adolescent to adult dogs, and it incorporates a bit of agility training, trick training, some more work on our sits, our downs, our stands and our recalls. And for those people that want to take it a little bit further, we also offer agility classes which are done outside. Puppy classes today, we're on week 4, so we've had 3 weeks of working up to what you saw in class today. We were teaching them the sits, the downs, the recalls. We did a little bit on loose lead walking. We also had them mixing and greeting people that looked a bit different. We had people dressed up, so they got used to people that did dress differently, were still nice and rewarding because they got treats. We also did puppy play in class because it's quite important that our young puppies do get the opportunity to mix with other puppies and learn how to play. And also the ones that were a little bit worried on week 1, we found today really came out of their shell and really enjoyed their classes. Okay, just to have a little go at our sits, downs and stands, what we are going to do this week is we're going to do a little bit of a twofold exercise. One is we're going to start to see how good our puppies are responding to voice commands, because a tiny bit last week what we were trying to do is we were trying to get them so that they're responding to the hand signal, but also I was hinting that maybe we should say the voice command just before we give the hand signal. So you want to test out how good the voice commands are this week. The other thing we also want to do with our puppies is we want to try to get them into what we would refer to being as gamblers. We want them to be puppies that become addicted to training. If you think about gambling, the only reason that we do put money onto the lottery is because of the occasional win. It's not because of the constant win. If every time we put £1 on, we got £1 back, we'd get bored, we would give up, we wouldn't do anything. More and often we lose, but occasionally we win, and we win something really, really good. What we want to do with our puppies now is to wean them off the treats, but also to enhance the training so they get really, really enthusiastic. What we end up doing is we're going to end up literally with our puppies trying to get them to do a number of positions just for the one treat, assuming that they know the sit, the down, the stand and the recall and everything fairly well. So if I could borrow BB, yay, hey BB. We're going to initially test out the voice commands. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask her for a sit. If she doesn't respond pretty quickly to my voice command to sit, I'm just going to give her the hand signal. If the hand signal doesn't work, I'm going to very quickly have the treat ready so that I can use the food lure. So we always work backwards. If voice cue doesn't work, the hand signal is then used. If the hand signal doesn't work, we very quickly use the food lure so that at least the voice command and the action of them actually sitting is all done fairly quickly. So with little BB, BB, sit. Oh, she said I needed to have a shake. Sit. Good girlie. What a good girlie. Just going to try it again. BB. Sit. Good girlie. Okay, so BB's doing it really well. But if you've got a puppy that is just not really associating the voice command, the idea is we would say sit, and then we would use a hand signal, good girlie, and then we give the treat. So those of those puppies that really haven't quite associated the sit command with the action of sitting. With the down is always so much harder. So we're going to get BB back into the sit. I'm going to say down. I'm going to use my hand signal. Good girlie. And if she hadn't responded to the hand signal, I would have then used the food lure. And again, we need the food lure fairly accessible, so we're fairly quickly backing that up. So there's just not too much time between them all. So we're just going to have another little go. BB. Down. Good girlie. So that's one little thing that we want to work on this week, is just getting our puppies so they are really, really quite they're responding to the sit, down and stand by the voice cues. The other thing we want to try with our puppies, we want them to start to give more sits and downs for the one treat. So well as practicing our voice cues, with BB we might say sit, good girl, sit, good girl, and a sit, Good girl. And for that, she gets a slightly bigger treat because that was really good. She worked really hard. The first 2 sits didn't earn a treat, the third one did. A little bit like the gambling ethos. Occasionally you win, occasionally you don't, but it doesn't stop you working hard. You actually work harder when the reward it was a little bit infrequent. So again with the down, just have a little go with the down. Down. Good girlie. Down. Good girl. Now with BB, because the down's a little bit harder, I'm going to reward on the second down rather than the third. So if their position isn't well practiced or they don't know it particularly well, don't expect too much. It's a bit like if somebody said to us, will you do overtime? I want you to do 10 hours overtime for 50p. You go, not doing that, too hard. So the downs we might need to reward a little bit more frequently than the sits. Has everybody got that? Have a little go. What we're going to do today with little Louie is we're going to start off literally at this end by just doing a couple of, yay, just bringing the treat up so I can get his focus up. And then what we're going to have a go at doing is literally just weaving around these cones. Now, with puppies as well, I know it's quite difficult. When we're trying to think and walk at the same time, it's quite difficult and we tend to slow up a little bit. If you can walk, we need to walk at a fairly good pace so that our puppies aren't having to slow themselves down too much. Because remember, puppies will, and dogs in general, will walk double the speed that we do. So we need to sort of compensate slightly and just fast our pace up a little bit. So with little Louie, I'm just going to put the treat under his nose. I'm going to bring it up and go, Louie. Good boy, Close. Good boy. Yay. Good boy, Close. Good boy. Petite. Yay! Yay! Good boy, Close. Good boy. Yay! Treat up. Yay! Good lad. So the idea is that we're showing the treat, we're then bringing it up here, so we've got puppy looking up towards us, because if they're looking up towards us, they're not then focusing on something in front, which then they go, oh, that's really exciting, I need to get to that. And we need to keep it fairly fast-paced, just so that puppy's then focused on us and more interested in us than everything else that's going on. So I can get into that treat bag. And the idea is it's lots and lots of regular reward and praise. Remember, we give the command, we say good boy, good girl, and then we give them the treat as well. He says, I deserve more than that one little treat you gave me. But that's what we're just going to have a go at doing. Look at that focus, beautiful in Nala. We are just going to have a go teaching our puppies some tricks. Now, tricks are really good fun. The idea is really, when we look at dog training, we've got probably 4 or 5 basic exercises. We've got the recall, we've got the stay, we've got the sit, the down, the stand. We haven't really got a lot else. What the trick training does is it just gives them more of a repertoire to learn, but also it actually gets you practicing those sits, downs and stands a little bit more as well. Because, for example, the paw needs to be taught from a good sit. The crawl definitely needs to be taught from a very good down, as does the rollover. And if you've got a puppy that's doing a really good stand, we can teach a bow from a stand, but we can also teach a spin as well. So there is a tiny bit of practice of basic positions, as well as practicing our tricks as well. To teach a paw, I'm going to see oh, good boy. The idea is we get them in sit position, because it's a lot easier to bring up their paw if they're sitting. We don't want to have our hand too high, because there's some puppies that just can't reach up too high, especially again if they're slightly larger breed puppies. But the idea is we just hold a little treat in our hand, and I know that we taught them the off command last week, and It shouldn't confuse because we're not issuing the leave or the off command, so hopefully they shouldn't get completely confused by it. But the idea is we just hold the treat there. Good boy, yeah. And as soon as the paw comes up, we release the treat. As we get better, we can then bring the treat slightly higher each time, so we actually end up with, he says I'm going to do a high five rather than a paw. But the idea is we hold it about chest high, as soon as, put the treat in the hand, as soon as the paw comes up, good boy, give the treat. And then what we start to do is, if reliably the paw's coming up each time, similar to the sits, downs and stands, we start to put it onto voice cue when they really know what they're doing. So we now do paw, good boy, yay. So that's the idea with the paw.
So with the weaving in between the legs, you do have to have quite long legs for this sometimes, but literally we just want them to, well, exactly what it says on the tin, weave in and out of your legs. So I'm going to get my treat, I'm going to put it in between my legs so that Nala's encouraged to come round. I'm just going to keep encouraging her round, Nala, and then give her a little treat for going round one leg, and then exactly the same the other way. Is this? Good luck, girlie. There we go. There we go. And once you've done one both way and the other way, you can start putting it all together so you can get a nice little figure of 8. Good girl. Nala. Ready, ready? Yay. Good girlie. Very good.
Yay. Okay, rollover is really good for those puppies that don't have particularly spiky backs. We also need to have a fairly comfortable down as well, because again, if we've got a puppy that just doesn't really want to be in the down position, it's slightly harder. It's beneficial actually if they do what Robbie's doing, which is they just tend to lie on their side, because we're actually a third of the way there already. Now all I'm going to do with little Robbie is just bring my hand around the back of his head, and I'm going to give him a little treat for doing that, because he sort of came around and sort of picked up his front paw. And then I'm just going to very gradually just move it round so it just goes a little bit further each time. So we do need to go the way that the hips are going. Yay!
Bow, what we're looking for is just the front legs to go down so the elbows hit the floor, but the bum still stays up in the air. So it looks like they're doing a little bow to you. So the way to do it, if you start off in a little stand and just bring that treat really quickly down in between the legs. Oh. Let's go this way a little bit. Ready, ready, ready? He just looks at it like, what are you trying to get me to do? I don't get it. There we go, bow! This way. Come, 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 come. So we can teach Tag to do a little spin, woo, and a jump as well. Very exciting. Now, if you want to look really clever, you can actually teach your puppies left and right instead. So, again, all I'm going to do, you need to have quite a good stand for this. And I'm literally just going to get the treat under the nose and just bring it round to the left. And then round to the right. Yay! And again, you can use whichever words you want. Like I say, I usually use spin and twist, but if you want to make your dogs look really clever, you can choose left and right, and it makes them look more clever than I am, because I don't know my left and right. So that's very good, Tag.
Okay, so if you just want to spend a couple of minutes just practicing one of those tricks, if you've got a trick that you already want to practice, absolutely fine. We'll walk around and give you a hand. If you would prefer not to teach tricks, fine, just use this time just to practice your sits, downs and stands. And I'm going to make a beeline for Ruben because I'm going to teach him to beg.